Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Two Reggio Dudes. I'm Scott Gross.
I'm Grant Troutman.
And here we go.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, yeah, it's our 20th podcast. What?
Yay!
Yeah, crazy.
And Scott's birthday.
Oh, yeah. That just so happened to be same day.
So all you fans out there, wish him a happy birthday.
Thanks. Appreciate it. We thought today we would talk about the importance of pain.
Yeah.
Pain. It could be any kind.
Yeah.
Physical, emotional, and the importance, the value that it adds to self-discovery, education, pretty much everything.
Totally.
But it actually made me think of this quote. I'm gonna go right into it.
Okay.
It was this, and this is more like emotional. He says, it's a Bob Ross quote, and he says, "Gotta have opposites, light and dark, dark and light in a painting. It's like in life. Gotta have a little sadness once in a while, so you know when the good times come. I'm waiting on the good times now." I can completely relate to that quote.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Right now. Totally waiting on those good times.
Waiting on him?
There are small ones. They're good, but
yeah,
we need some better ones, some bigger ones.
Oh, they're coming.
Yeah, they'll be here. But I thought that was interesting because there he goes, you got to know when the good, because if you don't, then you don't know when the good times come.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about. We spoke about today, actually, in our superheroes group was that pain is temporary. We were talking with the kids about what injuries they've had, and is your foot still broken? Does it still hurt?
Right.
No. And I told a story about hurting my big toe, and toenail wanted to fall off, and just the fact that it was like so painful in the moment, but after time it was okay and not so bad. And then what else? What did we talk about? You brought up a really good one when Saren said her story, and I was not really on the same wavelength as you were in that moment, because I kind of shut her down a little bit. I was that's not really an answer to the question.
Spinning helps.
I was looking. Exactly, but yeah, you handled that moment masterfully. Like,
thanks. It was a good example.
Yeah. What was the question? You said,
why do you feel pain? Why does your brain tell you that your body is in pain?
Right.
So it worked well.
And yeah, Saren told a story about when she fell.
She hurt her leg.
Hurt her leg, yeah, and it wasn't bleeding, but it was, yeah. And you said, well, that's great, because what did you say? Do you remember?
Yeah, so, Saren's brain told her body that she had an injury and she needed to get help, so she wasn't just walking around if she didn't feel that, then she would just walk around and potentially hurt her body more, but her brain tells her that she's in pain, so she can seek help and fix it.
Yeah.
Which was so perfect. It's like, pain builds from the moment you're born, probably in utero, your pain builds your reality, your world. Is everything okay?
Some woman's coming up to the door.
It might be Sheila. She have
she
glasses on?
Young. No, she's like a kid. Like 20s. I don't know. Weird. Okay.
It is weird. It's usually a very quiet neighborhood.
She had dropped something off.
We get lots of packages. So pain shapes your world, whether it's in relationships as you grow, or emotional pain, or physical pain from learning each environment that you find yourself in. It's like pain is one of the greatest teachers that we experience while we're alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're a little kid and you you're toddling around and you fall down, you know, ow, the ground is hard.
Yeah.
You know, there you go. You learn something real quick.
Yeah. I can't jump off of that, or this level of pain.
Yeah, that was too hard.
Occurs.
Exactly.
You know?
I always think it's interesting with climbing, because when you get to a certain level, or when you're trying, I mean, not really at a certain level. It can be anything, but like there is definitely a sense of pain / discomfort when you're doing that.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is about climbing is that it really is. It's only temporary. Like you might have to grab this razor sharp hold just long enough to get to the next hold that's much more comfortable. Right. And then it's like, oh, and then that pain will fade. And then the actual accomplishment of the climb is huge. The good times.
Right.
That's the good times that you're looking for at the end.
Yeah. And all the pain that you felt before that moment climbing, you know, gave you awareness as to what your fingers and your body can handle. So you have an idea about, you know, my hands can hang there for a certain amount of time before, you know.
Yeah.
But it's all instinctual and fast.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Or you push yourself even harder, then you push yourself past that threshold.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh damn, I didn't know I could go there.
Right. You go into risk.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many lessons to be learned through risk and through, you know, the consequence.
Absolutely.
Of that risk.
Yeah. I often think life is a race for humans between like stupidity and awareness. You know, it's like, because you're trying to build your awareness as fast as you can so you don't die or you don't feel pain more than not.
Okay.
Or, you know, so you don't feel, you know, pain all the time. So you're like, you're trying to like explore your environments, explore relationships, build your awareness so you can live a life in peace and not be scared of that pain. And then what you were talking about with the temporary, it's like kids don't, you know, that perception of like it's temporary. They don't feel that in the moment.
No.
So it's very, it's frightening, constricting. It can shut them down.
Right.
You know?
And we, you know, we talked about what to do, you know, like, okay, let's take some deep breaths.
Yeah.
All right, this pain isn't going to go away.
Right.
Like there's sometimes where you get an injury or whatever it is that an ice pack isn't going to help that one out.
Yeah.
You just gotta grit through it.
It's kind of fucked up. It's going to hurt. You're going to be okay, but
yeah,
we got to breathe through this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, okay, well, who do you go to to help you through that?
Yeah.
And then ultimately, can you do that on your own?
Yeah.
Because as adults, that's what we do. You get hurt and you go, oh, son of a bitch. You just sit there and you take it.
Right.
You, as little kids might, you know, totally explode with tears and like get so meltdown, like, because they're just, you know, what is this? This is a new level of pain I've never felt before. And they cry.
Super scary.
It really is.
Fight Club helped me with this. Helped form how I feel about pain. You know, in the episode, in the scene where he pours he puts sulfuric acid on Edward Norton's hand. Oh. And he's trying to get him to like focus. Like Edward Norton's going batshit crazy. You know, he's not connected to the pain. He's just feeling it. And so, you know, Brad Pitt gets him centered, focused, and gets him to like, this is your pain. It's right here. You know, it's not out there. It's not scary. It's something. It's right here. And you can focus on it and get it under control.
Right. There you go.
And he's like, you could do that, or we could pour vinegar on it and neutralize the burn.
Right.
Let's get to a point of calmness and then solution.
Right. There you go.
So that I mean, you know, it's extreme, but it helps me in principle.
Yeah.
Deal with my own pain and other people's pain.
The way that a friend of mine who's an OG climber, I mean, pioneer of the sport down here in the Southeast, Brad McLeod, he's also a bit retired Navy SEAL. he said one time, he talked about leaning into the pain, like just really just, okay, all right, this hurts.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what climbing is about. That's what MMA is about.
Yeah.
That's what life is about, pretty much.
That's right.
And so, sorry, I got distracted.
It's okay.
Got my robocall for the day. But yeah, like leaning into the pain, and it kind of like, it's like a journey, there's going to be pain along the way.
Yeah.
But it's the journey that's beautiful. Anyway.
And as you go along the journey, you learn, like, the human body can endure unbelievable things. I mean, it's like, and as a child, you don't really understand that or know that, but like even just a century of history of other people, of how the human body, it's amazing. So it's like when you have the confidence, that information, it can help,
Totally.
quell any fear about the unknown of pain.
Absolutely.
But
sorry, there we
go.
That's what I was going to. And we kind of piggybacked on our discussion last week, which was about prediction and instead, what to do instead.
Yeah.
Sometimes the little kids don't know to predict that, oh gosh, this hurts really bad.
Yeah.
But they can't, in the moment, they can't make that prediction that this is going to go away.
Right.
Eventually this will go away.
Right.
And that's hard.
Right.
But that's how we kind of like specifically addressed the why did I my brain's all
You're
over
good,
the
man.
place
It's your
today.
birthday. Relax.
No, like we specifically taught them, like, look,
Yeah.
when this happens, make a prediction, think about it. And we had the kids all, a lot of them gave examples of when they broke a bone, and okay, yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
That totally sucked. But
Right.
is your arm still broken? Does it still hurt? Like,
Right.
You're good now. You're solid.
Yeah. Your body can handle it.
Yeah.
And it's also about responsibility. It's like at some point, kids, they develop this, they need to become aware, if I make this choice,
Right.
this might happen and I might get hurt. And then that's my responsibility. I think they move from this impulsive, exploratory, pain extravaganza as early childhood. And then at some point it has to shift, and they have to take responsibility for those choices. We try to point things out and protect them, and, while they're still getting exposure, and they can assess, make their own risk assessments. But then at some point, definitely by the age of like 5, like they should have a very high awareness and have a lot of responsibility for their physical being,
Totally.
And then the next level from that, when they get older, is emotional. And,
Yep.
but you can grow the foundation of that kind of emotional awareness and security early while they're building that physical awareness. So when it gets really complicated emotionally later in life,
Right.
the mechanisms are already there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's outside, right? Okay. I thought it was like your chair squeaking or something. No. Exactly. Yeah, it does. It starts with the physical first.
Yeah. I just rewatched a documentary on Nietzsche,
Okay.
and I didn't know that he said, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger,
Nice.
which was super appropriate.
Yeah.
And it also talked about, I mean, he had a very up and down, insane, existence and mental stability. But they told this story about, he went for a walk in this place in Switzerland around this beautiful lake with these mountains, and he had this like life-changing moment by this rock. So there's this weird rock covered in snow by the lake. It's half in the path, it's half in the lake. It's cool. And it's said that at this rock, he had this idea or vision that changed his life. And it was if a demon comes to you and says you have to live every day of your life up until this point over and over and over again with all the physical pain, all the emotional pain, everything, would you say that that demon is evil and trying to do something bad to you? You know, like would you scorn him, or would you thank him? Would you say he's speaking the words of love, of divinity? And it's really just like, do you love your life or do you not love your life? You know, would you, all that pain, would you do it again?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think if you're, and I don't know, for me, it's like, if you don't have regrets and you know it's about the present moment, then the only choice is to be like, thank you. You know, if you're happy where you are, if you're happy with you, you know, then there's one answer. But that, in my life, that has not always been the answer, and it's not been easy to get to. But at this point, I can securely say that, which is very freeing.
Absolutely. That's really interesting.
And there's people that have endured, you know, mountains more pain of all kinds than I have. So it's different for everybody. But it was just interesting that.
What about, okay, so we're kind of talking about like a pain threshold for, I don't know, quote unquote, typical children.
Yeah.
Typical people. There are kids who are hypersensitive. There are kids that are opposite. Just, you know, that are sensory seekers.
Yeah.
Right. And these are the kids who jump off the couch 8,000 times, you know, or the kids who don't want to touch, you know, I do not want to sit in that beanbag chair. Like the feeling of the things is just too much. Right. So, you know, so for, like we were saying, leaning into it, there's sometimes like, okay, we've got to gradually desensitize.
Yeah.
Or, you know, meet the needs of this person, of this child.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like I know my daughter, I know Sarah needs a lot of physical input. Otherwise she's up until 10:30.
Yeah.
You know, and so like yesterday she's got a private ice skating lesson before she has a group lesson. And she was like whining before on the way there. She's like, I don't want to do ice skating. It makes my legs too tired. And I'm like, that's the point. Like, it's totally the point.
So the pain is fighting with the fun? Or is she like, does she have fun when she does it? It's just on the front end.
She has. It was the front end. She was just like whining about it. But then, like, you know, the whole time she was like having a blast.
It's got to be. I mean, are she still building leg strength, or does it keep increasing? I mean, is she?
Oh yeah. I mean, every time there's something new. She did it for, you know, she was on one foot and glided for longer than she did before. You know, she went blue line to blue line or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, no, it's fun going through, you know, starting and teaching your child like a new skill, and you know, pushing through the difficult parts. But we kind of went a little bit off topic. I was trying to not off topic, but off direction. I was thinking about, like, you know, kids that have different sensory needs, have a different threshold for pain. That's a challenging input, challenging. Now that would be something that I would definitely talk to an OT about, you know, to get their input from a sensory side.
Absolutely.
So, you know, if you have a kid who's, you know, averse to touch, you know, or anything, you know, it's funny, like, even bright lights. What was it? I was watching a documentary a long time ago, about, teenagers on the autism spectrum. And one of the guys was like, I don't know why, like, we have to learn why they say there's, like, you know, 5 senses or whatever. He's like, supposedly, or 7 senses, whatever, you know, with proprioception and, vestibular. And he's like, everything's just touch. He's like, sound waves hit my eardrum, vibrate, I touch. He's like, photons hit my eyeballs, hits the rods and cones, forms the image, it's touch. Like, taste, yeah, the food is hitting my tongue.
Love this
and
guy.
it's touching.
Yeah.
He's like, why? What? He's like, I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. And I was like, wow, that's from a person on the autism spectrum standpoint, you know, that's, well, it's brilliant from anyone's standpoint, but he puts the experience of having a sensory processing disorder into like, okay, now it's starting to make sense. The reason why XYZ flips out in the grocery store is because those freaking fluorescent lights are blinking and hitting their eyeballs.
Yeah.
And it is a frequency that is driving him insane.
Yeah.
It just hurts. Like, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you walked into a room and all of a sudden just like this ridiculously loud, piercing sound just, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, like, get me out of here.
And then people start looking at you like something's wrong with you.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and then they look at the parent like, this is your fault.
Right.
Why is your kid flipping out?
Right.
Like, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea.
No. I wonder what he would say about emotional sense. You know?
That's a good one.
How he would explain, because I'm sure you could explain it.
Well, it's just
touch.
It's just
electricity.
It's just electricity in your brain hitting different nerves and like, yeah,
right.
It's hitting like the love area, you know, whatever.
Right. That's like, easily explained.
There it is. Right.
Right.
It's just electrons.
Like, it's love electrons.
It's love electrons. But no, that was a really cool thought. And it put responses or reactions from children I've worked with into a whole other perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this physically is hurting him.
Yeah.
Like, it's imperceptible to us, but it is ridiculously amplified for this child.
Oh yeah.
And that's another part about being a teacher and being a parent, is knowing your child's, knowing those sensitivities.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, shoot, you could even sometimes look inward, you know, because our kids are you know, what's it called? Magnifications of ourselves. Like, I know I was the same way as Saren as a kid, but, you know, back in the 80s, we had a lot more freedom. I just went outside and I built a fort and climbed up the hills a billion times, you know, like, I got the sensory input I needed
for hours a day.
For hours. And then it was like, all right, nighttime. Time to go sleep. See ya. Like, so from my standpoint, I know the input that little one needs.
Oh yeah.
Because I can just see it.
Yeah.
I don't need to be an educator.
No. You can just assume that most kids need physical activity, and then as a teacher or a parent, you're trying to like figure out what that is, you know, what it looks like for them, because there's a whole spectrum. And you know, for some kids, like a light touch will bother the shit out of them, you know, and then other kids, they need a firm touch, and it's like they want pressure, they need an external force pushing literally on their body to feel their body, which grounds them and can calm them.
Yeah.
And you know, I knew an OT that gave a tip, not officially, but she was like, if you put your hand, you know, over the forehead, you know, it's very calming for the prefrontal cortex, you know. And I put a kid to sleep that way one time. He was already kind of tired, but it's like he was in the middle of a meltdown, and then we got through it, and he was able to calm down, and I put my hand on his head, and he was asleep in 5 minutes.
Wow.
You know, and just imagine like your mom or your dad as a baby. Just imagine, you know, of course, you know, like, but who knows? All kids are different, and there's a whole range. So as a teacher, you need to have that range and to be able to know very quickly how you can, you know, physically interact with any child.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I never heard that one. I mean, I've seen people, you know, do this.
Yeah.
like do like hand on the back, hand on the front of the head,
Yeah.
and just kind of put pressure. Just but so that's an interesting. I've never heard that one. Right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it wasn't official.
Right. You never know. And sometimes in those moments you just try whatever. Absolutely. You're like, this is insanity.
Right.
What will help this person?
Yeah. It's amazing to see so many kids and how they're like what they need. It's just there's infinite combinations of what they need.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
For sure. In a classroom, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, and emotion is intertwined with all of it. You know, because like, you know, you could touch a kid, you know, a kid comes in and they're, you know, cool, happy, and you have more freedom to touch them in a certain way, like pat them on the back or high fives. And then if they come in another day and they're not in a good place emotionally, they don't want any physical touch, just like any other, you know, any person.
Exactly. And that has to be respected. You have to.
Exactly.
Especially as a male in education.
No. Oh,
I mean, gosh, you are, especially if you're in the public schools, you are looked at in a really almost accusatory way from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's very sad. Like, it's really sad. Like, oh my gosh, this kid, you know, I want to give you a big hug. You're amazing. You did a great job. Okay, side hug, one arm, you know, I'll never forget one time I got called into my principal's office for something. And I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? And he was like, oh, you know, so-and-so said that you touched her and it made her uncomfortable or something. And I was like, what? What in the world? Whoa. You know, I was like, how did this, what? Mm-hmm. Like, he was like, this dad called and, you know, said, this was a kid who was on my caseload. Mm-hmm. And I was like, when, what, like, what? I'm never alone with anybody. I was like, I never, you know, if we're doing something one-on-one, it's in the hallway. Mm-hmm. There are people there. There are cameras. Yeah. Like, and so I was really like, you know, it's as a male educator who loves educating, loves what I do. I was like, oh my God, this is the horror story that they talk about in grad school. You know, of like, you know, document your time every second you go to the bathroom. Right from 1:05 to 1:15, I was in the bathroom. That's a long time in the bathroom. But like, you know, whatever, you know, like I heard stories in grad school, male teachers that would just like document every second of their day for liability reasons. Sure. Because as a male, you're absolutely guilty, you know, before you're innocent. Yeah. Anyway, back to that story, I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my God, it must have been when I patted her on the shoulder because she improved her reading fluency by 40 words or something in a minute. You know, I was like so psyched for this girl. Yeah. That I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And I reached out and I was like, great job. That was it. And then it was, you know, I don't know how the conversation went at home, but there are ways that you can ask your children questions with yes or no questions. Does he make you feel uncomfortable? Yes. Yeah. Does he touch you? Yeah. Yeah, he did. It made me uncomfortable. Whoa, there it is, right there. Yeah. That's it. And you know what? I explained to my principal, I was like, I think I know what it was. And I was like, I got to tell you, like, this is why I did this. I was genuinely so psyched for this girl. Yeah. She had made so much progress and I was so proud of her. That was it. Yeah. And, you know, I went to the dad too. I saw him in carpool. I was like, hey man, you got a moment? Can I tell you what I just had a talk with the principal about blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I explained like here's the deal. And I said, you know, please, like, I don't want to be banned from this job forever, you know, or whatever. I was like, please know that I'm a good person and I would never do anything to hurt your child. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I know you're a good dude. And I was just like, okay. And you know, sometimes you can ask questions to your kids that can lead to answers that are,
Yeah. Had it been straightened out at this point?
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, pretty much. I mean, straightened out with my principal, yeah. But
like,
not with the dad. I was like, I'm going to go talk to him.
So the dad just called,
said that, hey, you know, just, you know, heads up.
But the principal didn't talk to you and then tell
then
the
talk to
dad
him.
that was like, we figured out what happened. It was innocent.
Yeah, I don't know if
Okay.
the principal had actually made that call, because it was like, I think it was like the same day almost. Like,
Yeah.
I was so shaken up by it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, you know,
Sure.
this is insane. And by the way, that's the only time ever in the history of me working with anyone has anyone ever said anything like that.
Okay, dude, you don't have to defend yourself.
But, well, I mean, as a male, we kind of, you have to.
No, you have to be careful.
You have to absolutely be careful. And, you know, and the anxiety that parents feel, you know, I because of all the terrible horror stories and the terrible things that have happened to children at the hands of males.
Yeah.
It's totally justified.
Yeah.
It's just it's extremely sad, I guess.
Yeah.
That we I don't know. We put ourselves in this profession.
Yeah.
Because of true love.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't always come through from, you know, that doesn't, for some people, that's not why they do this.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, relax, man. That's terrible.
Anyway.
No. And that's one of the things that I think deters men. It's because of the way, like, we're anomalies in this profession. Absolutely. You know? So it's like, and people
especially
don't.
In early childhood education.
Oh, there's whatever. Especially like super passionate guys about it, you know, that like,
yeah, we're like,
this is what we're doing for the rest of our lives.
The 0.002%.
Yeah, we don't make sense to anybody else.
Right.
You know, so in that case, and so how do you get men to come into early childhood education when there's that? Yeah. You know, when you hear so much more about women doing things with their students than men do. I mean, at least in recent times that I can, you know.
As I look at Loris Malaguzzi over your shoulder.
Right?
There we go.
You know?
Godfather right there.
Well, you have to, like you do, if you're a man in early childhood education, you have to protect yourself. And you do that by being good at your job and also connecting to the people around you so you have support if everything gets weird.
Yeah.
Your co-teachers, your administration, like if they can vouch for you and you know they can, then it gives you a certain level of freedom and confidence.
Right.
My first year that happened to me, and it's happened with different families. They want, you know, they just thought I was a pedophile. Like it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I might have, you know, it might just be a physical thing. They might not like the way I looked,
right.
You know, or who knows, whatever. But it worked out. It fine. We exchanged information and talked, and you want, and especially this is one of the things that also helped me not judge parents. It's like if the rule is you can't judge parents, if a parent says, you know, I want to make sure you're not a pedophile, you can't be like, get the fuck out of here. You know, it's like, no, I understand that. I want you to feel comfortable with me, with your child. So you do have a huge responsibility to actually be good at your job. So you're not left vulnerable to defend yourself against people that are looking for something to attack. Right. That's different. Right. You know? So, you know, that's awful. Yeah. You know?
I guess the pain of that experience really stuck with me and has been valuable and, you know, affected my choices of where I work and with whom and all that, I guess.
But then, there's kids that would get so much confidence from a pat on the back. You know, it's like, and some kids don't actually get touched. You know, some kids live their whole lives, just they don't know what it feels like to have literal physical touch,
right?
Or like positive emotion, physical touch. You know, like. Yeah. Authentic, because it's powerful.
You know, yeah.
It's very powerful to give that to a child.
Right. Yeah.
So
good point.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
And I mean, it takes like looking at a dad. This taught me a lot about just being a man you know, and like what you have the right to do, what you have the right to think, and what you have the right to say when you're working with someone else's child. Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, especially to a dad that is looking at you and wants to know if you are legit and they can trust you. You have to be serious. You have to convey through your eyes and words and make them comfortable. And to a dad, I mean, that can be intense. And but it helps build resolve in you and authenticity. That once you get through that and you build that awareness, then that becomes part of you, and then it gets diffused into your future relationships,
right,
and avoided, potentially.
Good point. Yeah,
but we're always going to be weird. I mean,
it's part of the deal.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do something that everybody else does. You know, it's like I love being on like the front line of something that nobody else is doing.
Right. Yeah.
That
will have a positive effect on the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to do one of our little stoner pauses. I got nothing.
It was planned.
Yeah.
It was a planned stoner pause.
It's funny. Yeah. Like we were listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and I was like, oh my God, they actually had like 3-4 seconds of like dead hair. It was like us. It was like two Reggio dudes, and we both just sit here and what are we going to talk about next?
That voice isn't in my head.
Oh, that's how mine is all the time. It's either bubbles or it's that.
Bubbles are nice.
Bubbles, plop, 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 plop.
I put bubbles on our website at the end because they're so soothing.
Oh, yeah, they are. I was talking about bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. I'm just kidding. No,
I loved that phase of life.
Trailer Park Boys. Show's so good.
It's been a while now.
It has. Yeah. Bubbles.
Well, it's tricky. It's like you want to, you know, Joe actually talks about this. You know, he talks about how it's important for kids to experience pain, physical and emotional, and how like very protected kids, you know, they don't get that chance.
Right.
And it really shapes who you are. So, he wants to make sure that like, you know, his kids get exposure to adversity and like, you know, and have to strive for, to be in good physical condition. It's like, and it just totally makes sense. I mean, it's,
I mean, you see it with the quote helicopter parents, and the parents who are just like right over, be like, whoa, don't go over there.
Right.
Like, it's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
With the anxiety, tone it down a little.
Yeah.
This is how they learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, those.
And you can help parents be more comfortable with that. You know, it's like,
right.
Because they just don't know, especially with girls. Like, this is the thing. I mean, like, this is the secret that they don't know. It's like, they need to be treated basically the same. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, they need to be treated the same.
Totally.
Whatever you would do for your little boy, you would do for your little girl. If you'd wrestle with them, you wrestle.
Yeah.
If you'd run, if you'd hike, I mean, whatever you do. Mm-hmm. If you're hard on them, if you're firm, you do the best you can to be firm. It's really hard with little girls. They're so cute and they're smarter than you and very powerful. But it's your job to like, let them experience pain in a way where they don't resent you for it. They can build confidence and awareness and experience, but they don't suffer.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't, entail a trip to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's especially during COVID. Well, that was what Sarah said the other day. She was doing something, and I was like, oh, she was just like running back and forth in the house, and I had just made a huge steaming bowl of soup, and I was like good ramen, and I was like walking with. I was like, Sarah, stop running, running, because if you crash into me, you're going to be burned, and we're going to have to go to the hospital. Yeah. And no one wants to go to the hospital right now during COVID. Nobody wants to go to the hospital anyway, but especially during COVID.
So you up your awareness, know?
Well, I just took it to the next tier. Like, it's okay. Like, I guess as a parent, you want to think like, okay, try to make a prediction, right?
Yeah.
Be like, if she or he does that,
yeah,
will it send us to the ER?
Yeah.
Or is it something I can solve with a popsicle?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the things if you're finding yourself helicoptering,
Yeah.
ask yourself that question. What's the worst that could happen?
Right.
I hate that, when you say that, well, what could go wrong?
Right.
Hold on. Once you say those words, then something worse is going to happen than whatever it was.
Once you step off into risk, I mean, you hope you've used your awareness to secure an environment where there's risk available.
Yeah.
But it's measured,
We lost that camera.
Oh.
This one turned off.
Oh.
Damn it. We're experimenting with taking this podcast into a visual world. So we got a couple cameras set up in here today.
It's exciting.
Kind of.
It's kind of exciting for Scott.
It's like quadruple the work. But it's okay.
Well, fuck it, man. We don't need pictures.
Yeah.
Just do audio.
Yeah, you guys can listen to us.
That's right.
Pain.
Pain's good.
Pain is good.
It does
and
hurt.
It's temporary.
It's temporary.
So, let's go back to the next phase.
Okay.
Of development. It starts with the physical pain, and then we talk about, and then once kids start. This could even be pre-K. Somebody takes their toy.
Yeah.
That's hurtful.
Absolutely.
To a child. And then that's a moment when you can be like, all right, that made you feel sad, right? Sadness is a form of pain, and that's okay. How can we work through this? What can you say instead?
Yeah.
What can you say? Can I play with that?
Yeah.
If the child doesn't have words, you can say, use some kind of like visual.
I would say point,
right.
Get their eyes, point,
right.
chest,
There you go. Yep. And then you can talk through it with, both parties and be like, okay, he wants that dinosaur toy. When you're finished with that, can you give it to him so he can have a turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Kids, most of the time, it's like, hey, can I play with that when you're done? Those are like the most powerful words to teach a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, can I play with that when you're done?
Right.
And then most of the time, like, kids will be like, oh yeah, okay, here, I'm done. Like, here you go. And it's like, oh, that whole meltdown, we didn't have to go there because all you needed to learn was, can I play with that when you're done?
Yeah. It's all about control.
Absolutely. And then you're giving it to the children.
Yeah.
The control.
Well, because you want them to control their pain. You want them to be aware of it and in control of it,
right.
So it doesn't spiral. Because it's just like what we were talking about with adults and the government in America and everything. It's like if they learn these skills in preschool,
right.
then they'll continue to develop, and they'll be in place when they're adults. That just emotional regulation for whatever life throws at them.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to come to that moment and make that muscle memory of when there's a trigger, when there's a cause, like this is what goes into effect.
Yes.
Yes. Like with the acid, it's like with the acid, it's like focus here. Right. Put all your energy and focus into here, and we'll get through this faster.
Yeah. And you're giving them a tool as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they can handle it. I mean, they can learn that.
Yeah. Pick it up so fast.
Yeah. When Faith gets hurt, in varying levels, like if she gets hurt to a point that scares her, where it's like a new type of pain, her voice or her shriek will, trigger something in Katie. It's like something new.
Yeah.
That we need to get to her and help. But then sometimes she'll just like do something, hit her head or something, or hurt, and it'll hurt so bad, and she may be crying, but like you can see her chest is all puffed up because she's not breathing. Because the kids, they tighten up, they stop breathing, they're just feeling the pain and just frozen in it, and you want them to relax and use that air to move that energy through their body. And then it'll get better faster.
It's funny how you said it. It triggered something in Katie. Like,
hey man,
it's funny because sometimes like we Like I'm just like, oh yeah, she wiped out again. Yeah, like very numb to it.
I'm super liberal with my assessment of a wreck. You know, it's of like faith.
Right.
And the sound, right? Like you can usually tell by sounds,
Big time.
thuds, thumps.
Yeah. Screams.
Screams.
Cries. Yeah, those. There's another level,
Right.
that you know. Oh, I got to get there.
Right. Because you don't want to give them a shitload of attention for things that they don't need to think are a big deal.
Right.
You know? And the bigger you can make that list, the more independence and confidence and awareness they have about their own bodies. You know?
Point.
But again, that's risk for a parent. So, you know, and you get it wrong sometimes. You know, sometimes you're like, I should have done, that was close.
I thought it wasn't as bad as it really was.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
Yeah. Point. Well, we're at about 46.
Hey, that's a perfect number.
I think so too. Yeah. I'm almost to 46.
All right.
I'm almost there.
Yeah?
I'm getting closer every day.
Aren't you 41?
Jesus Christ.
just turned
yes,
40.
I am.
41.
41.
Yeah.
41. Wow. Yeah.
41 was a great year. 41 was my Corona year. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
it was great.
Your Corona year?
Yeah, COVID. I turned 41 last year.
Oh, God, that's right. Yeah, that was just last year.
It's almost been a year,
you don't,
man.
I was like, Corona, you don't drink.
Oh,
I
right.
was like, wait, what is he talking about? Like, maybe when he was 41, he went crazy on the Coronas.
It's possible.
No, that would that would have been, no.
I did find a Corona beer poster downstairs. I found some old Shark posters to show faith, and there was an old Corona beer poster.
Oh, wow.
And a Jack Daniels fuzzy one.
That's cool. From the previous owners?
No, from me, from
Oh,
college.
it's yours. Oh, from college. Okay. I was like, whoa. I thought it was like some ancient relic from like
No, that'd be
the previous owners of the house.
That'd be awesome, man.
No, well, yeah, either way, it's break. You found it.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Brought back memories. Well,
Yeah, well, we hope you have a great birthday, Scott.
thank you.
And thanks for doing the podcast.
So far, so good. All right. Well, we'll be out of here, and everybody stay safe, stay happy and healthy, or whatever.
That's right.
Remember, awakeneducationllc.com.
That's right.
Got it right this
It's amazing we got it, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it was available.
Right. Pretty sweet. There is a Two Reggio Dudes YouTube page. I have started that,
Yeah.
so maybe if we can get our act together with the cameras,
Yeah.
if I can get it together with the cameras, we can start. You know, you guys can watch these instead.
Our fan base is patient.
Yes, you have to be. We require a lot of patience.
That's right.
All right, guys.
All right. Be good.
See ya.